So what I'm going to start with is, I heard somebody say, the big problem, you're talking about the big problem with the asymptotes and all that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's practice one of those, and then we will do one where we use a number line. That would be some kind of inequality. But let's start with a problem like this. Okay, let's start with something like this. Okay, so we know we're going to start by factoring. And as I'm factoring, I'm doing it very, very carefully. Remember, this problem is a whole page of the test, so mega points on this one problem. If you factor incorrectly, everything will be screwed up. So take a minute, make sure that you factored correctly. And how do we check? We FOIL it back. Okay? We FOIL it back. Those of you that are going to be taking I-STEP, remember, factoring is a big component of that. So we've got to be careful and FOIL to do our check. Well, notice we have a cancellation. Right? So that means we have a hole in our picture. Well, look what canceled out. Where will that hole be?
4.
Where X is 4, because that's what canceled out. Then, how do I find the Y?
Plug it back in.
Plug it in right here, right here. So that would be what, 8 over 1, 8? So in terms of the picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have a hole at 4, 8. So far, so good. Okay. Now, we also need in our picture vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote, x-intercept, and y-intercept. Okay? So can you give me any of that? Remember, this is where you're looking.
Vertical, x equals 3.
Exactly. Your vertical asymptote is x equals 3. Why is it x equals 3? Because that's what makes the denominator 0. Kennedy?
The horizontal
Asymptote.
Yeah, it's 1.
Y equals 1. Make sure when we're filling in our chart, or whatever these blanks are right here, make sure that you're putting equations. X equals 3, Y equals 1. And it's Y equals 1 because we have X over X.
Yeah.
So we have a horizontal at Y equals 1. Now, those are equations. So it's real important that you have X equals and Y equals. These two are points. So they're going to be ordered pairs. And the ordered pairs contain zeros. Intercepts contain a 0. And the 0 is not the letter of the intercept. So if it's the x-intercept, y is 0. If it's the y-intercept, x is 0. Right? And then it's just a matter of going back to your equation and putting the 0 in the right spot. So for this one right here, I'm going to put a 0 into the y spot. So 0 equals x plus 4 over x minus 3. I multiply this over to here, it stays 0. And when I solve that, I get x equal to negative 4. And then to find the other one, I put x in, or I put 0 in for x. Back to my equation. 0 in for x. And I get negative 4/3. Or negative 1 1/3. And now I have everything. So the only thing left to do is draw the actual shape. And the test, it's not going to be tricky, kids. I'm not going to try to mess with you. It's a reciprocal function. I can see from these 2 points that I have a piece over here like this. So the other piece has to be up there.
Yep.
And I even have a hole up there that's got to be contained in that. So it's going to look like this. Now, I will be kind of picky as I was on your quiz, if you remember back when we took the quiz. See these arrows that I draw?
Mm-hmm.
The arrows have to be following the asymptote. So don't be like doing anything like this. That would be wrong. The arrows follow the asymptote. All the arrows follow the asymptotes. Shouldn't have any other shape. They're just following the asymptotes. Okay? Done. All right, so that's the big one.
What if you got x squared over x? Is it still 1?
There's no asymptote if it's x squared over x. There's no horizontal asymptote.
Oh.
Now, Monty, have we had any of those on our practice tests?
No, we haven't.
Okay, then let's not sweat it. Let's get focused on what we know we're going to have to be able to do. All right, so then we've got some number line problems. That's not a number line problem. We have some we do with a number line. So an example of that would be I have to rig it, just a minute.
Rig.
And hopefully I'm rigging correctly. X cubed minus 13x plus 12 greater than or equal to 0. All right. Now, this does not factor like this. Kids, it's a cube. So when I factor it, I know I'm going to have 3 parentheses. I have no idea what those parentheses are. So I'm going to start guessing. Right? What process do I use to help me guess? Synthetic division. Now, what number do you want to guess first? It has to be a factor of 12.
12.
So what?
6.
4?
Yep.
Now, be careful. This one's trickier than the other ones because there's a 0 in here. So I'm trying 4. Here we go. Oh, shoot. So close. So close.
Negative
Wow.
4.
12.
Negative 4.
Oh my word.
Negative 12.
Oh, I think that one works.
Yeah.
Double check. I did that kind of quick. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So one of our factors is x plus 4.
Yes.
And where will I get the other 2?
X squared minus
X squared minus 4x plus 3, which factors into x minus 3 minus 1.
Now I draw my number line.
Now I draw my number line. And I know there'll be 3 dots on the number line.
I'm going to draw my dots at negative 4.
And the dots, where will they be? Negative 4, 1 and 3. The dots will be colored. Now I got a shape. How do I decide where to shape?
You plug in a number.
Pick a number.
into my equation.
And I can pick any number I want that isn't that isn't a dot on the number line?
Which problem is it when you have to do it for every single?
We'll talk about that in a minute. No, this one I don't. This one I only need to try one. I'm gonna pick 0. I'm gonna pick 0. 0's in here. So 0 would give me 4 times -3 times -1. All times together is 12. Is 12 bigger than 0?
Yes.
So that gets shaded. That doesn't, but this does.
Yep.
So my answer is everything between -4 and 1, or everything greater than 3. You are allowed to check just one number and then alternate in every problem except the one that looks like this. If it has this, you are not allowed to shortcut. So if the problem had a square, you would have to check a number here, check a number here, check a number here, check a number here. As long as there's no squared, you can get away with only checking one number.
That's only the actual balance.
Yes. Okay, all right, you're free to go. Tomorrow will be the last practice test. Have a good day.
What do you mean? Don't worry about it.
Why Sergeant Major?
I didn't do that. Stop talking to me.
No, like think about it. Have you ever tried to take a blue suit?
Somebody
You
here?
simply can't do it. It's ain't up. You messed up. You messed up. You ain't up. I mean, since you ain't up like the suit
I'll tell you
change.
stuff.
You can't take a blue suit and put it.
Just be like,
It's impossible.
Do I need to
just see
exit?
people telling people this.
I'm saying you can use that towards your students.
She understands.
I'm asking for myself at this point.
It's not you.
Not to be soup sandwiches.
I know it's not me.
It's not.
It is important. Shall I talk to them?
She understands.
You need to get focused.
What do you
Why
mean?
do I have a shirt back here?
Why do you have 2 shirts back there?
Two of them?
One giant one.
Getting undressed. That's Magnus' shirt.
This would be an XL.
Magnus shirt. Magnus or Jalen?
That's your name, period. If you don't like them, sorry.
Neither one of them sits back there. They both went in here today, so it could be.
I said short.
There. You doing it?
You doing? You ate up like a sandwich.
Good.
Now, that wasn't a catch. Go sit down. You gotta buy Oh, there, then you gotta pay for the place. You must see something. Yeah, I see. Whoever's making the pay for the place. Oh, they're not sure. She did that. So how you know you got her? Huh? How you know you got her? I see your phone. Stay over there.